All right. Well, we'll get started. I was just saying, for those of you that just joined and connected, this is going to be a smaller group today. I don't know if it's time of the year. I don't know if it's our topic. If you guys have any thoughts or feedback, let us know. Maybe we need to switch up something to get more people on board. But today we were going to talk about flash sales and time sales. So we have that topic we want to throw out, and we've put together a couple of different notes of different things that we've seen, but definitely want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions and ideas. And feel free to, don't be afraid to chime in because we are a small but mighty group today. So I guess to jump in, like one of the things that came to mind for me when talking about flash sales and time sales, instantly sometimes your mind goes to, okay, we'll have to discount. But I think that's the biggest like misnomer with flash or time sales is that you don't necessarily have to discount. You can always really go the value added route. And I think sometimes those things are even more effective. I'll say, and keep me honest, Miran and Kyra, but like one of the things that we've seen really successfully as of late, I think is lots of it's been this season, is fee-free sales. Like just basically saying, for a certain amount of time, there are no fees. And whether that's you eat the fees because you are using a third-party platform, whether that's you've negotiated with that with your primary platform, but being able to go out and do something that is fee-free is a huge opportunity. And because fees are perceived as so bad and so negative, I think that one is a true win. What other value adds, Kyra, have we seen through the platform this year? I'm trying to think of some of the other value add things that people have done from a standpoint of like shirts or what's the other?
Yeah, any kind of add-on or promotional item, but also like experiences, like, oh, like for this
Yes.
time only, you unlock this photo on the field if you purchase through this flash sale link. So I think it's just about the perceived value, like Denise is saying. It doesn't necessarily have to be a discounted ticket, but whether it's a promotional item, whether it's an experience, they get like a handwritten letter from a player, whatever it is, those really move the needle too.
Yeah, absolutely. So other things that we've seen, just types of offers. So sometimes we'll see, like a standard, like call a rush offer, like a standard offer that people are ready, they're waiting, they know what's happening, whether it's day of game, whether it's like box office only offer, whether it's 24 hours or a week in advance of the game. So sometimes we'll see, like I know like student rush offers are big, and obviously that's like a flash or a time sale. But we also have seen a lot of teams that will have some sort of deal set up. So they'll say, like I know the Warriors have a pretty well-versed deal that they do. And I want to say it's like the day before the game it goes live, that up in, the day before the game, if you're on their text list, you're going to get access to a special offer. There's only a limited number available. And once those are sold out, they're gone. So like being able to train your buyers that there is something available if you like doing that and you like doing something that's a deal per se is a great way to go about it. But depending on how that works within your inventory, whether that's time frame wise or number of opportunities available, I think that's all controllable and doable. And creating that ability to market that there is that discount or there is that sale is definitely has value, even if it is only for a limited number for a limited time. We've had a number of teams or venues, actually, we're working on one that they're going to offer a certain dollar tickets. It could be like a $4.01 ticket for a USL soccer team. And so it's $4.01, but there's only so many of those for every single match. So you thinking about the way that you could do something like that, that's available only for a set amount for every match or only a set amount on a set day. So those kinds of things can be very, very helpful. Special times of year. So holiday offers. Kyra, you want to talk a few of those that are
Yeah, we've
successful?
seen, we've seen teams get really creative. Like even I think it was the Predators, Nashville Predators for Halloween. They did a 31-hour flash sale.
Mhm, mhm.
So you can get really creative with the holidays, the usual Cyber Monday, Black Friday that, fans are used to, but then you can also get really creative with like numerology, playing around with numbers. Like 619, I'm in San Diego. So like on June 19th, will the Padres do like a 619 flash sale? So playing around with different area codes is really smart and playing on those holidays or any kind of just special accomplishments of your team, I think are really big right now. So
Mhm.
Stockton Kings, for example, just advanced to the finals, the G League finals. So they've been doing these 24-hour $10 flash sales every time they advance. Or if you score a goal in the first 2 minutes of the game, there's a flash sale. You know, you can get really creative with
Yeah.
certain player or team accomplishments as well.
Yeah, I mean, if I was working for the Capitals, and I know they probably don't have inventory to sell $895 season ticket, but for Ovechkin, who just hit that 895th goal, you know, like how are you targeting and marketing that and taking these big accomplishments that your team or your players have and being able to put them into marketing strategies that, you know, brings attention to them, recognizes them, but also then drives sales. So I think there's lots of fun things to your point, Kyra, of saying numerology and working with numbers. There's so many numbers in our industry. So
Right.
how do we use them to our advantage to take care of that? And even like, you know, if it's, you know, if you are in a team where you could do 6 tickets for $19, like on 6 win, you know, like,
Yeah. There's
or,
so
you
many
know,
different ways you can spin it.
yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can play with those. So I think being creative with that is really, really, really fun. I also like when, you know, if there's a big trade that happens and being able to welcome that new player with some sort of special, you know, special deal. You know, I've also seen, can you tie in merchandise tied to that player? So maybe the Capitals can't go out with an $895 season ticket, but is there a way for them to do a special t-shirt that's sold for $8.95 that is, you know, like a, you know, replica t-shirt that's tied into a ticket or something. You know, I mean, there's just so many different things that you can do.
Yeah, and I think those bundles work really well in the holidays too. Like if you don't want to sacrifice price, like you were saying earlier, like for Valentine's Day, for example, you could do like a sweetheart bundle that includes, I don't know, chocolates at your seat or something. I
Yes.
don't know. You can get creative with those. Like Mother's Day, Father's Day, where it's not necessarily you're taking a hit on the price of the ticket, but you're doing some additional value add as well.
Other ideas that anyone's put out there that are creative for some sort of, you know, type of flash sale?
This is Thomas. My name is Thomas, and I do marketing with the Phoenix Suns. And
Yeah.
we did a 30K offer. So Kevin
Okay.
Durant, when he reaches 30,000 career point mark, we used that and we did a $30 upper level ticket.
Love
And
it.
then Booker had we did a one of one special offer. So we did $100 in one lower level ticket offer, and both of those offers did really well.
Yeah.
So to
People
your
get
guys' point,
attached.
like being able to market those special moments, being able to market those, like you guys said, were amazing.
Yeah, people get attached to those accomplishments and to the team. So sorry, Kyra, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask Thomas, and what channels did you send those out primarily? Was it an email blast? Was it a SMS text to everybody? What worked for you guys?
We did this on paid, so we did a lot of paid ads, we did out of home, we did programmatic, and then we did do some email blasts, but mostly focus on paid.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always interesting to see kind of what channels work best for which flash sales, and I think it's different on each individual
Wow.
promotion. So
Absolutely. Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate that. Any other concepts or ideas?
So in the MLS Leagues Cup is a newer tournament the last 2 or 3 years. So at least our side here at Minnesota United is very protective over like full database blasts. So
Mhm.
we weren't able to control what the marketing did on that side, but from the group side, we built out like a 47-hour flash sale to reflect the 47 teams that were a part of Leagues Cup. And so we sent that out to a handful of the youth soccer programs that we work with here on a pretty regular basis. Because those dates came afterwards, after like our whole group selection process, and it doesn't get tied to season ticket members, we had to fill like 19,000 tickets, where normally we only have to fill 3 or 4,000. With group and season or in single game tickets, we could rely on seasons for the most part for most of our games. But that was pretty successful. Question I have, because we I don't have a ton of control over like full data, I don't know why I can't say that word today. Data-based blasts,
Mhm.
with the, kind of controls that we have on our side. Does anybody in this group do like something like that, like specific, a targeted approach that maybe is for like .edu email addresses, and if so, like how you can actually segment those people out, knowing that there's a decent chunk of the people at our database that is no longer like a student, for example, because that's been something that we've had to flag in the past, building out offers that don't rely on full database blasts, but doing something more on like the group sales specific side.
Yeah, great question. Anybody have any feedback for her? Sarah?
Sarah, my name's Taylor. I'm with the Cyclones. We're a Maple Leafs affiliate. We use a program through a league partnership where I'm able to pull data based on past buyers of certain segments. I know you're trying to hit the EDU mark. Oddly enough for us, our EDU, they just want to buy the regular walk-up ticket. They could care less about a discount in our market, whereas more our families that buy our 4-pack or what have you are more concerned about saving in value. So this past weekend was our final two games of our schedule for the year. And we were able to do a mystery package with previous giveaways, autographed pucks, and blast it out through, I don't know how many partners on here use Vazi texting. We were able to create a list, plug it into Vazi, plug in a link to essentially what was a 48-hour type of flash sale, so to speak, or targeted type of sale where you bought the ticket and you picked from 2 different price points. But really, if you have a program like Stellalago, if I'm saying that correctly, really can help you break down, like I can break it down to EDUs, I can break it down to single game buyers that equate to our entry level 12 game season package. So if you have something at your disposal, that's what's really helped us in Cincinnati target fans that are constantly coming to us and buying single game, and how we can elevate offering them a unique package.
Thank you, Taylor. Sarah, can you ask for a segmented version of your database to send out, or are they not even willing to share if you go and ask for specific information?
It varies. It traditionally is something that like they will allow, but then it'll be targeted towards like the single game ticket approach. And then at that point, there's not necessarily a need for like the group sales team to get included or like involved in that. We've thought about doing similar to like what Taylor was talking about with the mystery pack, just because we have a crap ton of old like promo items that we have.
Yeah.
So that is another thing that is definitely something that we can look into for future games. We just launched our student deals program this year, which is like the student rush that you were discussing, and so our market's eaten that up. But anything that we can do like ahead of time, like months in advance, is definitely will calm the nerves of a lot of our executive team. We can do it earlier rather than walk up closer to the game date. So definitely really helpful. I think different segments, like it would just be helpful to if there's other people that are doing like specific examples,
Mhm.
that tends to work better if we can like bring them, here's 3 or 4 examples that other, major league teams are doing. They're a little
Yep.
bit more comfortable with that approach. And then we can also talk about like, hey, this is why it's a group sale initiative and a rep should get commission, but that's a separate topic.
Yeah, understood. So a couple other things that we've seen, the Anaheim Ducks do a really good job of what they call it like come again deals. So being able to pull, and I think they may actually pull some of their individual game buyers, but just if you can do this within the platform you're working with from a group sales perspective, anyone that buys from a link pull them from the first, you know, 1 or 2 matches or however many matches, and then put them into a permitted email list and then send them an exclusive offer for maybe a Leagues Cup game or the set of Leagues Cup games, doing that. The other thing, the Carolina Hurricanes, and I don't know if they do it as much now because their inventory situation is a little bit different, but typically teams will have like a deal for military, for example. So they'll have like an ongoing military deal, but they used to do like similar to a student rush, they do like a military rush. But you could also replicate that even like with educators or first responders and create this kind of environment that, yeah, if you want to buy well in advance, great. But day of, if we have, you know, distressed inventory, we're going to give you a better deal because you are a first responder or you are an educator or, you know, one of those types. So I think you can replicate something similar to what you're doing with students, you know, in those other categories, especially because you can verify through a platform like GovX or ID.me. But I think one of the things that, and this is just me, like my head spinning as I'm talking, like we always go out and say, okay, student rush, student rush, student rush. Like, what does it hurt if an educator gets that same deal? Like, I feel like a lot of us could argue educators are underpaid for what they do and taking on educating our younger piece of society. So does it hurt? And I mean, everyone would have their own opinion, but I'm standing back saying that would it hurt if an educator got the same deal as a student? Probably not, right? So just a couple thoughts. I don't know. Feel free to chime in, Miriam or Kyra, if I missed something.
Denise,
Right.
if I might chime in real quick to add on to
Yeah.
your point there. So Sarah, a year and a half ago, we did something very similar to what Denise just mentioned, where we targeted first responders. We got their information from past groups and so forth, targeted their departments, email blasts, texting them and so forth, where we were offering a $15 ticket. And we had gone from a year prior to me being at the team with no sales to first responders to having 200 tickets sold, to then us ultimately turning and saying, okay, we've got this. We ended up going the GovX route this year and ended up selling 2,300 tickets, utilizing GovX and that larger casting net, to the point where everyone is like, are you offering it again? Are you offering it again? And it's, the word is spread like wildfire. And here in Cincinnati, there's only 2 teams, and we're one of the 2 teams that does it. If you're looking for a major league partner in that aspect in our market, the Reds are the other team that does it here in Cincinnati.
Love that growth, Taylor. What other ideas are out there? What are the questions or thoughts? Like, have you guys thought about doing a certain type of flash or time sale? Are you know, do you have ideas that you want to kind of throw out to the group? You know, I think, you know, I'm looking at Haley and Susan. You guys are both more in the you know, show space, if you will, or arena event space. So you have to work through promoters probably to get those things, which may be a little more difficult. Even you, Caitlin, too. But are there any things that you guys have had been able to do with the different shows?
A lot of the time when we have an abundance of inventory, we're basically fighting with marketing because they want to move seats and we want to move seats. So we're not promoting the discounts, you know, on social things like that. So Caitlin and I joined the call to wanted to hear what other people are doing, because mostly it would be us sending an email to some of our past purchasers. So I wanted to see how we can just utilize Spinzo running some past purchaser list and then sending out, you know, a blast that way to have those last minute sales.
Yeah, and I think we can pull quick lists for you, Susan, and we can put them into permitted email lists. We can label them exactly what they are. And what could be really interesting, especially in the space that you guys play in, like we could make like buckets. So you could say like family show list, concert list. Like if you have those type of, you know, and I know you guys deal with the hockey event, the Duel in the D, or sometimes you have basketball events. Like we could create like kind of those buckets of the different types of people you want to reach out to, or that this show may be applicable because you have shows like Bluey that doesn't, if someone goes to Jewel and the Dean, probably is not coming
Right.
to Bluey, right? So how do you create those different buckets? And if you are constantly adding to those buckets, is there a way for you to do that? And then just like, okay, we need to pull the trigger. We've got a special deal. Okay, attach that family show list and run with it, or attach that hockey, like, you know, the list that likes hockey, and then send them out that way. So there could be some things like that I think we could potentially do for you for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful because listening to the ideas that you guys are putting out there, for example, we have Addams Family, right? A Halloween show that's coming in April. Thinking of doing a flash sale to some of our past purchasers, doing a 31-hour
Yeah.
promotion. I mean, we've already had approved discounts through our promoter, so we're able to do that. But now it's finding those right individuals who have purchased something else from
Yep.
us that we can send them this offer.
Yeah. Anybody have any ideas on Addams Family in April? That one is tough, but the 31
On a
hours could be
Tuesday?
fun.
On
On a Tuesday.
well, no, we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I mean,
Sunday.
yeah, I know this isn't the right, like, it doesn't, but like you could play off the fact, like, I live in Detroit, so that's where Susan's based out of
Denise
too.
is going to
Like,
buy tickets. Like, how can we get you, Denise, to come to the Addams Family on a Tuesday?
if I don't have a doubleheader for softball for one of my multiple children, then, you know,
Yeah.
but you could say play off of it, like the weather is so scary right now, you know,
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Like, oh,
like I was
spooky.
thinking about like that because like really our weather has been like yesterday it was like all over the place.
Yeah.
Tomorrow or Thursday I think it's supposed to be the same thing. But does anybody have any other ideas of like those types of things like where you're and I don't think that this is anything different than having a rough opponent on a Tuesday night either. Like in the
Right.
sports space, I think we all have those Addams families in April. We used to call it a different like a you know an NBA team on a Tuesday night, but
Yeah.
you know assuming.
Yeah.
It's a shame it's not on a Wednesday. That would have been.
Well, we do.
I
We have it on
know!
Wednesday too. We have it on Wednesday. We have it
Oh,
Tuesday
okay.
through Sunday, but
So-
just the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday shows obviously aren't selling as opposed to
Right.
the weekends. So
I mean, I think that could be really cool to play off of, you know,
our weather.
come see Wednesday
Yeah.
on a Wednesday and
Yeah.
it's Wednesday on a Wednesday and it's a win. And the win is for you is it's, you know, some sort of discount. Like that could be really fun. Isn't there someone named Tuesday in Addams Family or am I missing my
thing.
no
I
thing?
don't think
No,
so.
okay, yeah, no.
I think-
We've got a thing for you. Here you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one's a good one. Any other ideas, anyone? No? It's creepy. For sure.
That's a fun one, though.
Yeah.
But we think of anything, we'll definitely send you
Yeah.
it.
Awesome.
Another
Any other
question
go ahead.
I was just going to throw a question out there for the group. Just when we
Yes.
are doing these flash sales, I guess, what does the communication strategy look like? Are you, preparing your buyers like, hey, there's an upcoming flash sale, like for Black Friday, for example, how far in advance are you communicating that there is going to be a flash sale? Or for Student Rush, I know there's like a training process, but are you just throwing them live at your fans or are you, preparing them a little bit? What does that communication strategy look like?
Good question. Anyone? No. I would think like with what Thomas was talking about earlier, I mean, obviously you can't, that's spur of the moment because you're just playing off of something that happened live. But I mean, I think that especially with those ones that are set towards specific days, I think the more communication you can do in advance, sometimes the better. But it's also that fine line of like, you don't want to train your fans to expect a sale, like there's certain places I know, like, hypothetically, the Gap, for example, if I was going to buy something at the Gap, like I know I'm not buying that full price. You got your shirt at $49.95. I guarantee you are sending me an email, probably 3 in a day. And at some point there's going to be one that matches so I can get that discount. So that's awful as a consumer that I feel that way and I won't buy something full price. So I think there's that balance of like not doing too many, but when you do like the big ones, making sure they're communicated, or it's only happens once a year type of sale. I think that's okay to communicate in advance, but I think it's really a
good
fine
point.
line.
Yeah, it's a very thin line. I know with Orange County, with OCSC, we used to do a flash sale an hour before the game. And I used to hate it because then our fans were trained to, oh, well, why would I buy tickets in advance when I would just get discounted tickets an hour
Yeah.
before the game? And so we had to nix that right away. But I would fight with marketing so hard on that one. So yeah, there's definitely a fine line, and you don't want to train your audience to expect the discount. But there should.
And I think the reverse of that, Kara, sorry, jump in, but like Taylor may be able to speak to this. They do at the Cyclones, they do a family 4-pack, and they do the opposite. Like if you buy in advance, it's cheaper, but day of game, the price has gone up. So I think you can
Escalating
look
price
at,
is the way to move, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a certain price at this time. You wait an hour, the price goes up. Another hour, the price goes up again. I think those are the sweet spot.
So to tag in real quick, Denise, that applies to all of our pricing.
That's
So,
awesome.
so basically, if you buy a group a month in advance, you're X price. You wait 24 hours, you're still at that price. The moment the day of happens, everything goes up by $2. And then for us, for some of the major league partners, this is probably an everyday hat for us, for you all, but for us, after a certain amount of inventory, which is our lower half of the building, sells out, the price then jumps up again. So a lot of times what we're dealing with is we will have someone that will go online and it'll be, oh, it's only $18.56 a ticket or what have you. You know, basically our lowest group is 10 people for us. That's what we consider a group is 10 people. And we don't, it's hard to update the website every 60 seconds when a price jumps for the demand. Like I can tell you, we did a Bluey special 3-4 weeks ago. We had 10,000 fans in the building, and there was
That's
a
awesome.
line. The Bluey line looked like it was a Disney ride unto its own. It went around the building, and then we had to kick it outside. So basically, it snaked outside the building just to take a photo with the character. But really, we started to see this where folks are trained to buy in advance because they want to get the better price. So they're like, oh, I need to call, I need to get now. And then they're like, when they realize they missed the window, they're like, oops. And it's like, sorry, I don't have that price anymore. Because when we change our prices, those codes get taken away. So it's not like I can be like, oh, hold on, let me reenact the code for you. It's more of a buyer's demand at that moment.
Yeah. Those strategies definitely help. And I think, it's kind of like we were saying, like the reverse is definitely an escalating price can definitely be to your favor. So then you're constantly having essentially a flash sale in some ways, because it's like, well, this is the best price that you're going to get right now. The only time that can bite you is if something happens and the prices go down, which hopefully is a rarity, but it can happen and that can go that direction too. So. Other thoughts or questions for the group or ideas that you want to put out about different flash or time sales that we haven't talked about? No? Nothing else out there? Well, hopefully you took a nugget or two from the different ideas that we've thrown out there. Hopefully you guys got a couple questions answered. But if you have anything else to add, feel free to reach out to us. We can add it to the recap that hits ticketplaybook.com. We will be posting our next session. It'll be in May, so that'll be coming up probably, I think, like the second weekend of May. I can't remember the exact date, but we'll let you know on that one. And if you have ideas for different topics you'd like us to discuss or to put out there, please let us know. Please invite your friends and colleagues. The more people we can bring to the table for this, the better the discussion will be. We love, obviously, small, intimate groups, but if we can get more voices and more ideas out here, that's definitely what we want this to be about. So thank you all for joining, and we will see you in a month. Take care. Bye, everyone.